What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I'm going to do a little bit of a quicker video today. So I've had some issues with my S2000 since I've got it, and it's a problem that every S2000 owner has to go through at one point or another. Now, the problem that I'm talking about is your timing chain tensioner, which is what I have here in this box. Now, I have the OEM one on my car right now. I rebuilt it when I first picked up this car about 2 years ago, roughly 40,000 miles ago, just a hair under. And you know, the issue is they just fail. It's like a design issue. When the chain stretches, you know, the spring either can't keep up with needing, you know, to keep the tension on it. Whatever the issue is, the worm gear gets polished, you know, is what it is. So instead of trying to rebuild my OEM one for a second time because I worried about, you know, having, you know, taken away material on the worm gear or, you know, the spring just not being able to keep up with the tension, I went ahead and got one from Ballade Sports, Ballade Sports, however you want to call it. So that's what we have right here in this little bit of a package. And then the other thing, because this is also kind of, you know, in the way per se, and mine's leaking, is VTEC solenoid gasket. So the issue is that Honda only sells the main smaller gasket, and both ports on mine are leaking. So you can't buy the top one, you have to buy the whole solenoid. I'm not about to go spend $300 for my solenoid's not broken. So I've heard mixed things on the Ballade one. We'll see. You know, I think most guys are getting about a year. That's what DIY guys got on his. Some of the forums are, you know, wishy-washy in between, but, you know, for now, I'll try this. I didn't find out about the Kraken one until, you know, after I found this one. So I'm going to go ahead. This is going to be a pretty straightforward thing. We're just going to go ahead and slap this thing in, and hopefully, you know, the noise goes away. Now, the noise I'm referring to is the TCT slide. Now, my cylinder has already been worn away a little bit from my chain. Last time I had, you know, the valve cover off doing valve lash, the chain looked in good shape still. So I'm going to fire the car up really quick. I will let you guys hear that noise that I'm talking about, and then we'll go through, we'll install this, and we'll get, you know, a good before and after so you guys know exactly what it is that you're listening for. Once the air pump shuts off, you'll be able to hear it a little bit better. It doesn't sound at its worst right now, but after the car's warmed up a bit, you can definitely hear it clacking. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea. I'm going to kill this before the oil gets too hot because I don't want to, you know, have everything burning me. You already know, we always got that coffee on us. All right, so first things first, I'm going to make this easy. And I don't have the factory airbox, I have the K&N set up, but it's still kind of in the way, especially for getting you guys a visual. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this off. It's just a couple 10 mils and then, you know, your couple worm clamps holding the actual coupler on. So now that we got good access to the work area, and so you guys can see what I'm doing here now, you may or may not have this brace here. Obviously that's aftermarket, but if you do, basically what you're looking for is the bottom portion there. That's the timing chain tensioner. The top portion is the VTEC solenoid. So obviously we're taking off the timing chain tensioner, but if you have issues getting the old one out because it's like stuck, if you can't, you know, shake it around, jimmy it, there's an Allen key bolt tucked back right in back there. So you don't want to take this top one off. That is for like your timing setup. This lower one behind that cover, so I'll have to take my you know, brace off right here. But this lower one, if you cannot get the timing chain tensioner out on its own, you can take this bolt out and stick a screwdriver in there and prop it out. So last time mine came out pretty easy. Let's hope it does it again. And you can see my VTEC solenoid's been leaking for a minute with how gummed up that all is. So we're going to start with that first, just so it's easy. We get some more hand room in there. Grab the timing chain tensioner. So let's do that. With the harness out of the way, it was just those two plugs. I kind of just, pushed off to the side. You can see that the VTEC solenoid has 3 bolts. One right there, and one right there behind that wire. So undo those 3 and the whole solenoid should come right off. Yeah, there you go. So that's the main gasket. You can see just how, squared up the edges of it are. It's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be, fluffy. Now this is the solenoid, off the car, obviously. So the part that Honda doesn't sell separate is under these 3 bolts, this cap. There's another gasket under that. So that's the one that, you kind of have to go with either Ballade or Kraken for. So, yeah, let's clean this up. I'm going to just use some brake clean and some paper towels to get it all cleaned free of gunk, so that way we can see if it's going to start leaking again. Clean up your mating area, make sure it's clean of, dirt and debris, and slap those 3 back on. But now you can get a good look at the timing chain tensioner. So now we just got those 2 bolts there, and that thing should pop off on its own. So here's the top portion all broken apart. You can see there's the middle gasket that we're changing, and yeah, just like I said, those 3 bolts right there. So go ahead and lube up your new gasket, and if you're an AP1 owner, I already know you got oil on you, so make sure the new one has some fresh oil. And you can see just how flat that got. Like, that is not supposed to be like that, and I spent the last few minutes cleaning this thing up, so it had plenty of gunk built up inside these little ridges and stuff from leaking over time. Yeah, put some oil on it, slap some gasket on it, put it back in the car. I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. And of course do the same thing, put a little bit of oil when you do your TCT O-rings, a little bit of oil on there, a little bit of oil on the gasket to the block. That way it stays lubricated, you don't pinch nothing. There's my OEM TCT here on the left. I'll take this apart after we're done with this job to see if the worm gear got messed up again or if the spring maybe is failing. So this is the Ballade Sports one, and you can see the piston is pushed in. So what you want to do is keep this bolt in here until this is in the vehicle and bolted in, and then you back this wing nut out, and then you go ahead and you take this set screw, because this has an oil port in it, and this is what you screw in place of that, and after that is in there, then you would take this cover and you would use these 2 supply bolts to cover this up. Make sure this has a gasket right here, dab of oil, keep it clean, lubricated, and we're going to go ahead and slap this thing back in the engine. Got the VTEC solenoid cleaned up as I can. Got the top piece bolted together, and you can see I got the new gasket. It's all glistening, so it's all oiled up. So let's get this thing put back on there. Alright, so we're looking pretty good in there. You can tell I got to do some spring cleaning overall, and it doesn't help that the new TCT is black and blending in with some of the grease behind my bracket there, but some of that is from that stuff failing to begin with. So I'm gonna go ahead, throw the air intake back on, and we're gonna fire this thing up and we're gonna check for leaks. I'm not gonna put my box back in yet. I'm just gonna put the filter on, so that way I can eyeball it. So stepping back to get you away from the intake and the vacuum pump, I can already hear a difference. The TCT is doing its job. Sounds much quieter, much less ticky. Again, I'll let the air pump run its cycle and shut it off, and we'll get you some audio of it sounding much better. Look at that chubby boy. It's sounding really good to me. I don't see any leaks. I'm gonna go ahead, wrap this thing up, and we'll take the OEM one apart really quick and see if that worm gear is what failed on me. So here we have the stock one. Let's take this apart really quick. So this kind of already fell out. This literally just goes in just like that. Oh, yeah. So there's your main spring. There's your, dowel, piston, whatever. And here is what I think is the failure point. This is what the worm gear. So you can see, let me wipe this off, just how shiny and polished this is. Now this is what we fixed in the first place. So you can take this, yeah, you can see how it's nice and shiny on the edges. So it's not supposed to be that shiny. So what we did the first time is we just walnut blasted this using a Harbor Freight, blaster and an air compressor. And again, it did work for the last, 37,000 miles. 38,000, yeah, so it's much more noticeable on these front three than it is on these back ones. So I don't know how well the camera picks that up, but you might be able to see the glistening on the front three pieces as compared to the back half. So ideally, that's going to be the failure point. Now I am going to put this back together. I'm going to save this because I'm probably going to see if I can get this sent out to Billman later and have this as a backup. A nice OEM style, rebuilt TCT from Billman with his modifications done, and then we won't have to worry about it anymore. So there you guys have it. We got ourselves a brand new TCT, and we got some VTEC gasket solenoids replaced. Now again, I'll let you guys know how these gaskets hold up. Hopefully they last longer than anticipated, according to the forums, but it is what it is. So anyways guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. If you're new to the channel, hopefully by now you've considered subscribing. Yeah, and if you ever want to help support the channel, by all means, other than subscribing, I do have a big cartel where you can get some of my merch and my metal products. I have, Vivid Racing affiliate links and Amazon affiliate links. Get something with those links. Kicks me a couple bucks, helps me out. And I also have a Patreon if you guys are interested. Once we get some more people in there, try and do some special stuff. But anyways, guys, yeah, do what you love. Forget about the rest. Thanks for hanging out with me, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.